Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, I'm so excited. We are going to work on this black flame tumbler that I'm sure you've been seeing going around. We're going to do the epoxy drip. So I've already prepped and spray painted my cup, just a flat white paint, just like I always do. And for the epoxy part, I'm going to be using the amazing clear coat, quick coat epoxy that I got from my local Hobby Lobby. I'm going to mix a total of about 25 milliliters right in there, and we're going to just mix equal parts just like we do with any other epoxy. And then once we get this mixed, we're going to add a nice and thick. I did get it from Counterculture DIY, and that's what's going to help get this epoxy nice and thick. So we're going to go ahead and stir this and get this all mixed up really well. And then once your epoxy is mixed, we're going to take that nice and thick, and I'm just going to add a spoonful at a time, and you're going to add just as much or as little depending on the consistency that you would like. So it is a very light powder, and like you see here, I'm just going to mix one spoonful at a time, and that's going to really thicken up that epoxy. And for this cup, I don't want it too thick because I do want those drips to kind of run down the tumbler. I think in total I maybe added, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe around 10 scoops of this in here, and then we'll go ahead and add our pigment powder here in a minute. All right, and before we put our drips on here, we're gonna get the image on. The image I got from Etsy, and I just printed it with my inkjet printer onto sticker paper, the same sticker paper that I use just for everyday use. And I start with the middle and just kind of fan out to each side, making sure there's no bubbles or creases and that your image is nice and flat. So we're gonna set this aside for just a minute and get our epoxy mixture here now that it's the thickness that we want, and we're gonna add black pearl to this. This is a mica powder that you can find on my website, and I chose this one because it's not necessarily like a flat black. It does have a little bit of a pearlescent to it, which I thought would be really pretty. So we are going to make a matching pen, of course. So same thing with the pen, it's already been prepped and spray painted. And I'm just going to get my drip mixture here on the popsicle stick, and I'm working at the very top of the cup here, the pen, hello. And we're going to just add a little bit on here, and then I'm going to put it in my little stand that I have next to me and just let that drip naturally down the pen. Okay, so now we're ready to do the same thing to the tumbler. I'm going to use my popsicle stick, and I'm going to start at the top part of the rim here and just kind of apply it at the very top. I'm not putting a whole lot yet. We'll kind of get to that in a little bit, but you can kind of see already how it's starting to drip. An important thing that you want to remember is once you get your drips on here, you don't want to place your tumbler back onto your turner. You want to stand it straight up. That way you get those nice natural drips. If you put on the turner, it's obviously just going to drip off of your cup. So I did speed this part up a little bit, but you still get the idea and kind of see the process that I'm doing to get these drips. Okay, so now that our drips have dried here, we're going to just add the images right to the pen. I'm going to do one with the black label and then one with that tan label. And I'm just kind of finding a place that's kind of nice and center that's obviously not going to go over the drip. I probably should have put this on before, but don't ask me why I didn't think of that. So we're just going to go ahead and put these on, and then we will epoxy these and these pens will be done. Okay, so back to the tumbler. Now that this has dried, you can see I'm going to put some epoxy right on these pens here. I am using the counterculture resin for my final coat here. We're not using the quick coat epoxy, and just because the UV levels from what I've researched are not as good for your final coat. So I typically use just the quick coat for things like maybe the drip or just a glitter application. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure you get a nice even coat on those pens. I know it's kind of jimmy rigged, as we would say. I don't have a pen holder. I typically don't make a lot of pens, but this is kind of what works for me. I just attach it to my little cup attachment here, and it works fine. So we're going to go with that. Anyways, so once we get it on there, we're going to do just the same thing with our cup. Just get a nice even coat. You can kind of see as that's turning that nice pearlescent that we got in the drips there. I just love how that came out. So after this final coat cures, that's it. We're done. It's super easy, and these are so much fun, and they've been such a huge hit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know below in the comments. Don't forget to join us over on Facebook at Karly's Creations, Tumblers, and more. We have a lot of sneak peeks on new glitters, new products, coupon codes, and we just have a really good time. So I hope you'll join us over there, and in the meantime, we'll see you on the next video.